You watched it unfold in real time yesterday right here on Newsmax, the historic vote to remove Congressman Kevin McCarthy as the Speaker of the House. Did Mr. McCarthy make some pretty big mistakes? Yes. But it is also my belief he was treated very unfairly in certain circumstances. The truth is, the GOP has refused to come to grips with who they are. They have refused to set standards. They have refused to do the hard work, and it could cost us everything. The GOP's identity crisis could destroy their party and this country. A bit of analysis you likely won't get anyplace else is the focus of today's preamble. In my home state of Texas, the Republican Party there has been infiltrated by leftists who claim to be Republicans, but are in fact Democrats. They support destructive Democrat policies, and they hate constitutional conservatives and the rule of law. Texas is the only state that prohibits the majority party from picking its speaker in the state house. Texas is only now waking up after 30 years of recognizing the GOP majority in the Texas House is a sham perpetrated by charlatans masquerading as Republicans. On the national level, with the ouster of Kevin McCarthy as Speaker, the veil has been lifted on a deception being run by a lot of other Republicans in that caucus. After McCarthy was ousted, the Speaker pro tem threw Nancy Pelosi out of cushy digs traditionally afforded to former speakers. But it didn't stop there. According to Jake Sherman of MSNBS, House Republican leadership has kicked Representative Steny Hoyer out of his Capitol hideaway. Republicans / McCarthy are taking revenge for Democrats voting with Matt Gaetz to boot Speaker McCarthy from the speakership. Expect more of this, GOP sources tell us, end quote. Now, before you all start applauding, before you all are tempted to believe this is the GOP finally getting the message that they were hired to oppose, not to facilitate the Democrat Party, think about what the GOP leadership is admitting to. The GOP leadership is angry at the Democrats for not standing by them after the GOP House leadership did everything they could do to fund the leftist destructive anti-American agenda. The GOP is angry at the Democrats because the socialists didn't stand against conservatives to deliver for the GOP leadership, who has given those Democrats so much. The GOP leadership was astonished that Democrats who hate Matt Gaetz and other conservatives just as much as the GOP leadership does acted in this way. The GOP leadership reminded their Democrat friends in a move that NBC classified as practically begging. They reminded the Democrats how moderate Republicans have been working tirelessly to diminish, silence, and kill all conservative priorities in service to that Democrat Party. And what do the Democrats do? They stabbed the Republican leadership and the moderate Republicans in the back. Again. You know, this reminds me of the story of the nuclear option. You might remember it. Let me take you back to 2005. Then Senate Majority Leader Bill Frist floated the idea of going nuclear on judges, reducing the 60-vote threshold to just 50+1. He never instituted that policy, but pro-Democrat Republicans led by that maverick, John McCain, formed the Gang of 14, joining with Democrats to thwart the Republican agenda, and it worked. Some of President Bush's judicial nominees were thwarted to keep the Democrats happy. Fast forward to 2013, after the GOP used those very same tactics to slow Barack Obama's judicial nominees, the Democrats used to thwart the Bush nominees, same tactics. Harry Reid didn't just talk about going nuclear, he did it. As a result, the Democrats were able to pack the courts with anti-constitutional freaks who are harming this nation to this day. And don't get me wrong, John McCain, he did try to spring into action again. He went to his Democrat friends. He said, hey guys, it's time to get the gang back together. They wanted to thwart Harry Reid's destroying over 200 years of precedents in the Senate. They being the Republicans. But the Democrats refused. The Democrats told John McCain, we really appreciate you stabbing your voters and your party in the back for us, John, but we don't do that. We're Democrats. We play to win. This is how the GOP-controlled House has operated for the last 10 months. On every inflection point where the GOP had even the slightest leverage to actually get policy implemented into law and stop the damage being done to our people by the Democrats, the GOP opted to go along with the Democrats instead. But in typical GOP fashion, the Republicans told their voters, hey, we're going to fight soon. Way there down the road, one day we'll stand against the Marxist policies of the totalitarian party. So you just keep on donating to us, you voters out there. Here are the lessons the GOP leadership will not learn from the McCarthy ouster. Lessons that we conservatives have known all too well for a long time. I don't blame Democrats for voting against the Speaker of the opposing party. That's what they're supposed to do. I don't blame Democrats for stabbing folks who have done so much for them in the back. Like the scorpion and the viper, it's their nature. It's who they are. You're going to hear that the reason why the GOP can't get anything done is because they control 1/3 of the government with a slim 4-vote margin. That's not why. Nancy Pelosi, with a 5-vote margin, accomplished historic harm against our people. Besides, in 2016, when the GOP held the White House and both houses of Congress, they began a campaign of attacking each other. And under the leadership of pro-Democrat Republicans like Mitch McConnell and Paul Ryan, they squandered a historic opportunity to protect our people. On Truth Social, President Trump identified the symptom of the problem by writing, quote, why is it the Republicans are always fighting among themselves? Why aren't they fighting the radical left Democrats who are destroying our country? End quote. I have your answer, Mr. President. Unlike Democrats, who are united in their desire to destroy America, destroy our freedoms, and install totalitarian control over the masses, the GOP has no unifying principles. In fact, the current Republican Party doesn't have one unifying principle. This is something the GOP has been papering over, putting off, and refusing to face for decades. A significant number of Republicans get up every day and seek a Democrat's backside on which to plant their lips. Another portion just want to go along to get along. And then there are those who seek to defend their voters and stop the historic harm being done to this country by Marxists in our midst. Until the GOP decides just what kind of party it wants to be, they will be in disarray. And as long as that's the case, there is nothing to stand in the way of the inhuman policies that are currently laying waste to this once great nation.